Hey listeners, welcome back to Bookcast. I'm Jenny and I'm here again with my co-host Alex. If you're just joining us, we're diving deep into The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, a book that's way more about human behavior than bank accounts.
Hey Jenny, and hi everyone. That first episode really shifted how I think about financial behavior. The whole no one's crazy thing, realizing people act based on their experience, not logic. I've been thinking about it all week.
I love hearing that. And today's chapter builds on that idea. Chapter 2 is called Luck and Risk, and it's one of my favourites because it challenges how we think about success and failure, especially in money.
Oof, I can already tell this one's going to hit. I've always wrestled with this idea. Do people become wealthy because they're smart and disciplined, or because they were born in the right place at the right time?
Exactly. That's the question Housel tackles. He starts with a bold example, Bill Gates. Brilliant guy, obviously. But Housel reminds us, Gates had access to one of the only high school computers in the country in the 1970s. That single factor gave him a massive early lead. On the flip side, he also shares the story of Kent Evans, Gates's friend who was just as talented, but died in a mountaineering accident as a teenager. The lesson? Luck and risk are siblings. They're both parts of the same story, events outside of our control that shape outcomes.
That's wild. So it's not just about skill or effort, it's about circumstance too.
Right. Housel says we often look at someone's success and think, what can I copy from them? But what if their story included one or two lucky breaks that we can't replicate?
So does that mean we shouldn't study successful people?
Not quite. The key is to separate what's replicable from what's not. Yes, study habits, principles, and mindset. But don't assume that copying someone's strategy will get you their outcome. Because their context, the economy, the timing, even their zip code, might have given them an invisible tailwind.
I love that. Invisible tailwind. It reminds me of survivor bias. Like we focus on the people who made it and ignore the ones who didn't, even if they worked just as hard.
Exactly. And Housel drives this home. More than we like to admit, outcomes in life are influenced by forces beyond our control. The takeaway isn't to feel helpless, it's to be humble. Recognize that luck helped you more than you think, and that risk hurt others more than you might see.
So this changes how we define smart too, right?
It does. Sometimes people make great decisions and get poor outcomes, and sometimes they make reckless decisions and get lucky. That's why Housel warns against judging decisions purely by results. He says, judge a decision by how reasonable it was, given the information available at the time, not by whether it led to a good or bad outcome.
That feels like a huge shift. I mean, think about investing. People might sell all their stocks right before the market rebounds and then beat themselves up. But maybe that decision made sense to them in the moment, based on fear, news, whatever.
Exactly. And the lesson isn't never make mistakes. It's learn from what you can control and don't confuse bad luck with bad judgment. Same for the reverse. If you made a risky investment and it paid off, that doesn't automatically mean you made a wise move.
Okay, so what does this mean in real life? Like for someone trying to build wealth or just make better choices?
Great question. Housel gives a few practical takeaways. Be careful who you admire. Don't blindly copy people just because they're successful. Figure out if their situation applies to yours. Respect risk. Even if things are going well, don't assume you're invincible. Risk is always present, in markets, in business, even in health. Stay humble. If you've done well, acknowledge the role of luck. Gratitude makes you more grounded and more resilient.
This makes me think about gratitude totally differently. Like, not just thanks for what I have, but thanks that life gave me the conditions to get here.
Exactly. It takes ego out of it. And here's another powerful mindset shift. You can do everything right and still fail. And you can mess up and still succeed. So focus on your process, your principles, and your character, because outcomes don't always reflect those in the short term.
Man, that feels like truth we all need, especially in a world obsessed with results and comparisons.
Totally. And this chapter invites us to be kinder, not just to ourselves, but to others. Before you judge someone who's struggling financially, ask, what risks did they face? What help did they miss out on? And before you glorify someone successful, ask, what breaks did they catch that others didn't?
So real. Okay, final thoughts, Jenny. What's one thing you hope listeners remember from this chapter?
Here's mine. Be careful when you define success based on outcomes you don't fully understand. Your life isn't a formula. It's a story with risk, chance, effort, and context. Honor your effort, respect uncertainty, and stay humble.
That's a perfect note to end on. So, that was Chapter 2, Luck and Risk from The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. If you found this helpful, hit like, drop a comment with your thoughts on luck in your own life, and don't forget to subscribe to @BookcastPod.
And coming up next, Chapter 3, Never Enough. We're going to talk about greed, the moving goalpost, and what happens when success starts feeling unsatisfying. It's a big one. Can't wait to share it with you.
See you in the next episode, folks. And remember, some of your wins were luck, some of your losses were risk, but all of it is part of your learning. Thanks for listening to Bookcast.